Hello everybody, this is Mr. LaPointe, and today I'm going to show you how to make your keychain. When you first get into Onshape, you're going to want to come up here to Create and click on Document. You next need to title the document, starting with your class period, your name, and what we are making today. Yours will be something like this, except please put your name in here and your class period. Click on Create Public Document. On your screen will now be the Onshape menu, including the 3 planes that we'll use to make 3D objects. To start off with our project, you need to click on Sketch, and then it's asking us what sketch plane we want to draw on. Because we're making something in the 3D printer, I'm going to ask that you click on Top, which will make the process a little smoother, transitioning your model to the 3D printer. You'll notice that now that I selected Top, Sketch 1 is this large border that surrounds top plane, and up here it says that we are sketching in the top plane. Now, to make our life easier, we are going to rotate this so we can work on it more easily. You're going to click on Top in the navigational cube, and this is now rotated into a view we can use more easily. Now that this is facing us, we want to select corner rectangle. We want to click on the origin and move up diagonally and click anywhere. It does not matter where you are. We are going to change the dimensions. Yours will look something like this. Now, I want to point out a feature in case you get stuck or make a mistake at any point in this process. You can always come up here to the undo button, and it will undo the last action you did. You can keep going back even further. I'm going to draw this again quickly. Our next tool we want to use is the dimension tool. It's right up here. At the bottom of the square rectangle, we're going to click here and move down a little bit and change this to 2.5. You could have just as easily clicked on the top of the rectangle. It doesn't matter either way. This rectangle now has a length of 2.5 inches. We need to tell the object what height it should be, and we will call this 0.75 inches. Right now we have the base of our keychain set up the way the instructions are calling for. We need to select that we are done with a sketch, and right now we have the object sitting here. I'm going to ask you to rotate your view right now to isometric so you can watch what our next step will be. This has now rotated our cube so it's facing with its back laying down on a flat surface like a table. And we have to give this shape some thickness by using the extrude tool, which is up here. Again, the extrude function is asking us which face we want to work with. We want to click on the top of our object. And that's way too big. This project calls for a depth of 1/8 of an inch. And then if you're done typing, you can hit enter. And if we're done with this, because this looks good, we will click the green check. Right now we have a solid base for our keychain. The next step in the instructions is to put a hole in the keychain. If you are not making a hole because you're not making a keychain and you just want to have a nameplate, you can skip the whole part of this project. I'm going to change our view again to top. I want to select sketch. Which sketch plane? I'm going to click on the top surface. I'm going to come up here and click on the point tool. And we want to drop this point somewhere in the upper corner, but not touching either of these edges. If you click and touch one of these edges, it will lock to that location, and you'll have to use undo to get out of that. That placement looks fine. I'm going to use my wheel on my mouse to scroll in. If you have a touchpad on your Chromebook, you can do a similar action by swiping. Now we want to tell this point where to be. We're going to come up and use the dimension tool. We want to click on the point and click on the top edge of our object. We'll slide over here so we're outside the object because it's easier to see our dimensions. Click, and we want to tell this to be 0.16 inches. Next, we want to do the same in the other direction. Click on the point and click on the left side of our object. We will come up and that will also be 0.16. Enter. We're done putting the point on here and having the proper dimensions. We'll click on the green check. Now we need to make a hole where this point is. Coming up here, you'll see the hole tool. It's asking us again, what point do we want to have this pole associated with? You'll click on the point. And on yours, your default, if you've never used it before, will be 0.25. But we need to change this to be 0.17 and hit enter. And if we're done, we'll click the green check. We want to kind of zoom out so we can see what we've done. You can do that by clicking on top. And if we want to rotate this, you can right click and drag to see we have a hole there. To get back to our view that we're using for this project, you can just simply click on top again. Our next step is to draw the letters. We'll start with a sketch. We want to select the plane we're drawing on, which is right here. And we now need to select the text tool, which is this A. For this tool, we want to draw a box inside our object. And again, do not touch the outside edges because it will be impossible to move it again, or at least not easily. We need to select bold. When you're 3D printing text that is raised up or cut out, you need it to be reasonably thick or it will not 3D print very well. You can change the font, but if you do, please pick a font where the letters look reasonably thick and aren't too abnormal. Sometimes unusual fonts won't be recognized by the 3D printers. I'm going to type what I want to have on this. I'll type my name. Actually, I'll type my last name. And I'm going to use the green check arrow. Now, before I do this step, I want you to be aware that it's not going to look the way you want as soon as you do this, but we're fixing it next. Okay, so I used my last name because it's long, and I wanted to show you how to fix it if your name is not fully on top of your keychain. We're going to come up here and use the dimension tool again and click on the top edge or bottom edge. I'm selecting the top this time of the name box. We want to click. And remember when we made the base of our keychain, it was 2.5 inches long. We have a hole in it now, and my L takes up the full height here. So we need to make it something less. I'm going to start off with 2.25 and see how that looks. There will be a little bit of trial and error with resizing your name. Okay, that looks good. I will be able to make this fit. I'm next going to select the left edge of my text box and the left edge of our object. And I need to kick it to the left so the E is fully on. I'm going to try a number. That might work. For yours, it will be some different number, and you'll mess around with those changes as you go. I also now want to move my name so it's more centered. You can do that if you choose. Another option, in my case, I could have moved it more left and have my L underneath the hole. Either way is fine. Whatever looks good for you. I'm going to come over here and click and change this number to something more than it is now. I'll try 0.2. That looks pretty good. Now, you can keep changing these three numbers to make it look the way you want. I'm pretty happy with how this is going to come out. So I am going to choose to finish sketch 3. And I'm going to come over here and select isometric view so I can watch the next step. For my purposes of demo, I'm going to zoom in with my wheel so you can see this. I'm going to come up and select extrude. I'm going to select the letters that I just created. And again, that's not exactly what we want. I need you to change this depth, and in the instructions it tells you to make this depth 1/16 of an inch. I can hit enter, and that looks about right. I'm going to select the green check to say we're done. Now, at any point in this, if you got stuck, remember you have the undo. If you wanted to go back and fix something, so for example, if I wanted to shift where my name was, I can double click on sketch 3, and sketch 3 is back. I'll rotate this. I can again go and change these numbers, and then I can say I'm done. I'll close sketch 3 again. Since I'm pretty happy with this, I could be done. If you want to, this next part is optional. You can change it to round the corners a little bit. I'm going to switch to an isometric view for this and zoom in a little bit. There's a tool up here called Fillet. It'll make rounded corners. For this project, please just round these corners I'm indicating for this step. Again, this is optional. Please do not round the bottom edges of the project. That will cause it not to stick very well to the 3D printer, and it may ruin your keychain. I want to select these corners. I can left click and drag to move this around and see the other corners. Alternately, you can click on the corners of this cube, which will snap to the other dimensions. I'm then going to click back here, and one more time. And if I zoom in, I've got a nice rounded keychain. If I want to take a look at what it looks like from the top, click on top, and I like the look of that. I'm going to now click on the green check, and that's looking pretty nice. Now, the next step is turning it in. To turn it in, you click on Share. You need to type my name. You have to spell it correctly, though. And it's my email. Now, I can't follow the step any further because I can't really share it with myself. But I want you to select have copy, export, share, and make sure that it says can edit. If you do not have can edit selected, I can't download it and send it to the 3D printer. You'll then click share, and you're done with this project. Please feel free to review these instructions. You can change how many times you see it. You could change the speed, and you can also continue to use the text printed instructions that are found in Google Classroom. I hope you enjoyed this project, and I'll see you back in class.